We got one team that's out of the Bryce Harper sweepstakes. We're going to get to that. But thankfully, we begin with the NBA. It's back, and it was back in a big way last night.
Speaking of back, Lakers are back. LeBron is activated. Playoffs are around the corner, right? Is it too soon?
Is this the push? The playoff push right here?
We're pushing. LeBron James and the Lakers looking to get back to 500. What a push, guys. Take on the Rockets. Let's pick it up in the fourth quarter. Rockets lead 95-92. Harden drives in transition, makes a tough layup. And guess what? He'd finished with 30 points for the night. His 32nd straight game. Congratulations. The streak continues. LeBron bringing that intensity. He's activated, as mentioned. He drives. This is really nice. Put back. Look at that dunk. David, are you there? Did you see it? Never mind. Next possession.
Here. Yes.
LeBron drives. Tough layup here. We're on our way to the playoffs, baby. That's for those at home who may not know. Lakers take the lead 101-97. So here's when things get a little tricky. James Harden ends up in foul trouble. So he gets the ball, drives, and what happens here, he gets called for the offensive foul, and he's confused. He just doesn't understand. What do you mean? What do you mean? A few possessions later, Harden, Chris Paul, guess what? Another one. OF. What? Pick up LeBron because he's playoff activated. Let's keep it moving. No one understands what's happening. Now, there to me, I could see the OF there. I'm sitting with someone in studio, David. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So anyway, there were some technicals handed out. Lakers going to win 111-106. After the game, James Harden was asked about the calls.
Scott Foster, man, he's I never really talk about officiating or anything like that, but just rude and arrogant. I mean, you aren't able to talk to him throughout the course of a game, and it's like, how do you build that relationship with officials? So, and it's not even that call. Like it's just who he is on that floor. It's pretty frustrating, and I mean, and I'm probably gonna get hit, but honestly, I don't really say anything. I'm probably a pretty quiet guy to myself, but. It's one of those things where you can't voice your opinion, you can't have a conversation with someone that's officiating the game, and then you're getting attacked. It's pretty sad.
You feel like it's a personal issue?
Yeah, for sure it's personal, for sure. Like I don't think he should be able to even officiate our games anymore, honestly.
David said it sounds like a fine, but I'll give you some more specifics here. The Rockets were called for 11 more fouls than the Lakers. That's the 5th time this season they've been called for more fouls than their opponent. All 5 of those games have come on the road, and most importantly, all 5 have ended with an L. The final tally was 28-17 in favor of the Lakers last night, including 11-4 in the fourth quarter alone. So, who was at the game? Brian Windhorst joins me now here on Coast to Coast. Brian, thank you so much for being here. James Harden it's right. He is a quiet guy. He does not talk much. However, after you heard what he said last night, and then the league will review, obviously, the calls, how do you think they will respond?
They'll respond with a $25,000 fine. So here's the thing. Those were offensive fouls, as you saw there. Yeah. Harden was not shooting the ball well from the outside. He was 2 of 10 from three-point range. The Lakers knew he was going to drive late, so they were able to set up outside the charge circle. Those were offensive fouls. The fact that Chris Paul and James Harden both foul out in the game, that's wild. But Scott Foster didn't make all those calls. Here's the real issue. In the morning, when the official assignments come out and the Rockets see Scott Foster, they are instantaneously upset. They are pre-angry because they have a history with him. They were 0-3 with him in the playoffs last year. And so unless things go perfectly, they are prone to being frustrated with Scott Foster. Chris Paul and Scott Foster have a long history. Chris Paul really heavily criticized him last season. He then met with the league about it. But here's the thing. Scott Foster is one of the top 5 or so rated officials year in and year out. Not only will he be working playoff games, probably Rocket playoff games, he will be the crew chief in those playoff games. It's really the scar tissue that exists in this more than the individual calls. I agree last night that the fouls were really one-sided. The Rockets did not shoot a free throw for the last 20 minutes. That's all true. I would also tell you that the Rockets' offense in the fourth quarter was completely out of sync. They couldn't make a three-pointer. That wasn't Scott Foster's fault. There were other factors at play.
Yeah, you actually told me that he has a relationship, or a reputation, rather, Scott Foster, for not really caring much. That's great. Meanwhile, I appreciate you being here and trying to break it all down for us. We have some breaking news, so I'm going to send it back to David in the studio.
Yeah, Kerry, this news just in. According to the Jupiter, Florida Police Department, Robert Kraft, the 77-year-old owner of the Patriots, has been charged with 2 counts of soliciting prostitution at a Jupiter day spa. The arrest was part of a months-long investigation into human trafficking. The Jupiter police chief is holding a news conference at this moment. We will have much more to come on this story. But again, Robert Kraft charged with soliciting prostitution. PER, a player's efficiency rating, weighs a player's positive and negative accomplishments and returns a per-minute rating of a player's performance. That said, Zion Williamson has the best PER by a wide margin since Basketball Reference began tracking these things at the collegiate level. We know his absence was certainly felt Wednesday night against North Carolina and will continue to be felt until he returns to the lineup. We've got our college hoops analyst, Seth Greenberg, here. Many people have weighed in on should he suit
Everyone's
up?
Got an opinion.
Should he shut it down? But you made a good point that you really can't shut it down if you're going to be a basketball player at the next level. There's no shutting it down, really, in this sense.
Yeah, everyone's weighed in. Look, if Zion Williamson feels he should shut it down, then he should shut it down. I understand that. But here's the deal. I mean, Zion Williamson woke up the day of the North Carolina game. He was excited about stepping on that court, playing in that great tradition-rich game.
Yep.
All right. And all of a sudden, in the beginning of the game, all right, absolutely the last thing in the world anyone thought would happen, basically an equipment malfunction, let's call it that. And he blows out and he gets a strain, one knee strain. Now, when he walked into that arena that day, he loved his teammates, he loved Duke, he loved playing for Coach K, he loved the total experience. He has a strain, a grade 1 strain. So all of a sudden, because of that, everything changes. And he should shut it down. Let me ask you this. If he should shut it down, should R.J. Barrett shut it down? Because he could get hurt. Should Cam Reddish shut it down? Should Ja Morant shut it down? I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. If the kid wants to do it, I understand that. And let's not fool ourselves. The experience of playing at Duke, the experience of playing college basketball, coming into the season, he was not the number 1 pick in the draft. Right? Now he is right now the number 1 pick. Hey, Joel Embiid, all right, didn't even play in the NCAA tournament, didn't play his first year in the NBA. He was the 3rd pick in the draft. He got a shoe contract, all right? He got endorsements, and he got a max contract. Harry Giles didn't even play for 2 years, had 2 ACLs. He was the 29th pick in the draft. So it's not like he's going to be destitute if, God forbid, something happens and he strains his knee.
The point I was getting to is that, but you can't shut it down anyway because he's going to be working out.
He's going to have a workout guy. I mean, he could have had that exact same injury. Right. Going into the gym with a workout guy, and God forbid, hey, he has a flat tire, because that's basically what it had. That shoe obviously had a malfunction. He had a flat tire. That could have happened if he was just in the gym, shooting around, working on his game. He's not going to live in a rubber room. Right.
100% Zion's call, obviously, but we'll see how that plays out. Don't expect him to play against Syracuse tomorrow. The Cuse actually beat the Blue Devils back in Durham earlier in this season. What was missing Wednesday night, and can they fix it in time to knock off the Orange?
Yeah, and they were missing Trey Jones last time. Yeah, they can fix it, but they got to control the controllables. Without Zion Williamson, small margin of error. They got to do all the little things. They've got to be connected. Right here, when the ball gets reversed, watch right here. You're going to see an inside screen, a simple cross screen. Lack of communication. Lack of communication right there. Luke May gets a layup. You got to clean that up. That's a simple scouting report. Carolina has run that forever. Ball screen, back screen. Watch right now on the weak side. Cam Johnson gets to the offensive glass. Marquise Bolden again. Lack of communication. No block out. They give up an easy basket. You got to eliminate these plays. And finally, watch right on the slip. We can freeze it right here. Well, you can't. But you see Marquise Bolden on the weak side. He's got to shrink the court. So can Duke fix these things? Yeah, they're fixable. You know what's going to happen? Without Zion Williamson, they have a smaller margin of error. Okay. They've got to be more connected. They've got to be more focused. They've got to be more locked in. And they've got to control their controllables. They can't turn it over 20 times, and they got to be more alert defensively.
I say it all the time.
You love
control
that.
your controllables. If you don't control your controllables.
Can't control me, so control your controllables.
You're out of control. Seth Greenberg here with us, getting us ready for Duke Syracuse tomorrow.
All right, David, the other major storyline in this game is the status of Syracuse head coach Jim Boeheim, who struck and killed a pedestrian with his car on Interstate 690 Wednesday. 51-year-old Jorge Jimenez was outside of his vehicle on the interstate after being involved in another unrelated accident. Police said there was no sign that Boeheim was impaired. We're now joined by our college sports reporter, Jeff Borzello. Jeff, you have been on the ground in Syracuse since yesterday afternoon. Tell us what's the latest with Coach Boeheim.
Well, it's sort of the status quo right now. All we know right now is that he met with his team yesterday, but did not coach practice, did not attend practice. And so we don't really know his status for Saturday yet. I'm told they're supposed to practice at 4 p.m. today, either here at the Carrier Dome or at the Carmelo Anthony Center. And we should know more about his status for tomorrow after that. But I talked to somebody close to Boeheim, and he said that he's shaken up about it. He called it awful, called it a tragedy, and he's just shaken up about it. You know, they've sort of closed down media availability a little bit. They closed practice yesterday. They closed practice today, which is a change from their usual operation. So for now, we just sort of wait and see what happens with practice later today.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a somber mood there on the campus. You used the words correctly. It's just awful and a shame. And, of course, he's shaken up about it. Thank you so much for reporting for us on this story, Jeff.
Word this morning that the Nationals are moving on from Bryce Harper. Buster Olney joins us.